Happy New Year! Could we get some confetti or something? And we'll do that again. Get some confetti this time. Ready? All right. Happy New Year! Much better. Congratulations. If you're watching this, you have survived 2020. Could we get some cheering or something in the background for the people who have survived 2020? This video is going to be about my top 3 books, games, and movies from 2020. Now, just to clarify, these are things that I watched, played, or read in 2020, not necessarily things that were released in 2020. And the idea here is that if you are a little bit bored in the beginning of this year due to lockdowns or restrictions from the pandemic, well, now, after watching this video, you'll have some entertainment recommendations or ideas to get your 2021 off to a great start. So let's get started with books. Coming in at number 3 was the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio. This book is about a boy named August who was born with an abnormal face. And the story is about what life is like for him as he goes to a new school and makes new friends. And the book is told mainly from his perspective, but also occasionally from the perspective of some people he interacts with throughout the story. One of the reasons that I personally like this book is because it's a children's novel. It's really easy to read, and I like to read books like this from time to time. But also I think there's something really valuable about taking the time to look through the lens of a child. And I think this book did that really well. So yeah, that's my number 3. My number 2 book was Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This book, it's a novel set in the mid-1900s in a North Carolina marsh, and it follows the story of Kaya, aka the Marsh Girl, who was abandoned by her family at a young age and basically has to figure out life on her own in the marsh. At the same time, this story is also a murder mystery. I found it very engaging and exciting from start to finish, and the end kind of threw me for a loop. And coming in at number 1 is Factfulness by Hans Rosling. The full title of this book is 10 Reasons We're Wrong About the World and Why Things Are Better Than You Think. I should note that I read this book at the very beginning of the year, before all the 2020-ness happened. So it might be interesting to read it again after the year and see if I still have the same view of it. But I think the reason that I really like this is sometimes I think we feel like the world is just becoming a worse and worse place. And I'd like to think that the opposite is true, that it's actually getting better. But anyway, it was great to read this book that highlights a lot of facts about how things have improved in the world in the last 50 years. Also, it was full of lots of great visuals, like charts and graphs, which I always appreciate. So, that's books. These are my top 3 books from 2020. Now on to games. Coming in at number 3 was Codenames. Codenames is a great game to play with a group as small as 4 people, but it works with a much larger group as well. I wasn't introduced to this game this year, but I did discover that it works great for playing over Zoom, which you can do online for free. Coming in at number 2 is Resistance. I haven't tried playing this game over Zoom, but after a quick Google search, it looks like it might be possible, so you can try it out, let me know if it works. But yeah, this game is a ton of fun. I always love playing it with my Martin cousins. It involves trying to figure out who the spies are, and there's always lots of confusion and illusion and heated arguments, and yeah, it's always just, I really enjoyed it. It's a great time. And coming in at number 1 for games, without question, is chess. In general, chess saw a huge boom in 2020. I think 2 major factors were the pandemic. People spent a lot more time online playing online games, so chess was one of them. And the other factor was the Netflix series, The Queen's Gambit, being so popular. got people into chess as well. And I think it's great that more and more people are discovering what a great game it is. It's a relatively simple game, but at the same time, the strategy it can be really complicated. And each game you play is unique. On websites such as lichess.org and chess.com, you can play against people all over the world who are at your skill level. So that's really cool as well. So yeah, go play chess. Top 3 games. And finally, my top 3 movies. Coming in at number 3 is Ant-Man. This fall, I started watching through the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. I had seen some of them, but not all of them, and a friend convinced me that it would be a good idea to watch all of them in order. So that's been fun. But Ant-Man was one that kind of surprised me. Going into it, I was thinking like, okay, so your superpower is that you can become really small, like how exciting can this be? But I was pleasantly surprised. I really like Paul Rudd, and I felt like this movie had a nice balance of humor and story and superheroism all combined. So yeah, Ant-Man, number 3. Coming in at number 2 was Knives Out. Jasmine and I watched this movie this fall, and it's sort of a murder mystery, but it's a little different because you kind of find out who did it close to the beginning, and it's more of like, are they gonna get caught instead of a whodunit. But yeah, it had lots of humor and drama, and it took place in this cool old house, and Daniel Craig had the strangest accent in it. And coming in at number 1, my number 1 movie of 2020 was Hamilton. I had heard a little bit about this Broadway musical here and there, but I didn't know much about it other than that it was a hip-hop musical about one of the founding fathers of the US. It didn't sound that exciting, but I did hear lots of good things about it, so I figured I should watch it at some point. And they made a movie version of a live performance, and it's on Disney Plus. And since I had Disney Plus anyway to watch the Marvel movies, I decided I am not throwing away my shot. So I watched it and loved it. It's a great story. It made me laugh and made me cry. There's so much talent involved. And yeah, now I can't stop listening to and singing the songs from it. So yeah, if you have Disney Plus, definitely watch Hamilton. Top 3 movies. That about does it for this video. I do have some honorable mentions as well, but I'm not going to go through them. I'm just going to put them up on the screen for 3 seconds. So if you want even more recommendations, pause it and then take some notes, and there you go. So that will be now. I would just like to quickly say that if you happen to watch or play or read one of these things and you don't like it, it's not my fault. These are just my personal favorites from the year, so it doesn't necessarily mean that you're guaranteed to like them. If you do read or play or watch them and happen to really enjoy them, I would like to take some of the credit. So you're welcome. And yeah, I hope your 2021 gets off to a great start. Stay safe, stay entertained, and I will see you next time. Pardon me, are you Aaron Burr, sir? Well, that depends who's asking. Oh, well, sure, sir. I'm Alexander Hamilton. I'm at your service, sir. I have been looking for you. I'm getting nervous, sir.